Let me ask you a question. What does customer service really mean, especially when it comes to entrepreneurs? Now, if you tell me they're just words on a sign in your favorite store that direct you to return items, I need you to think again, my friend. Welcome to another week of Entrepreneur Insider. I'm Tia. I'm your host and the founder of the Black Entrepreneurs Network. Thank you for joining us. Now, I want to know, are you someone that sat down for an extended period of time and created a business plan for your business? Maybe you outsourced it. Maybe you used an app to create a business plan. Maybe you sat down and came up with a series of business policies. Or conversely, you may be someone that just kind of fell into business because the public loved your unique product or service. No matter what the case is, whether you prepared for it or not, customer service can make the difference between business success and business failure. Whether you're a freelancer or a full scale employer, how you treat people really is the golden rule. Now, you know the golden rule of business that I'm talking about. If you don't treat people and your customers the way you'd want to be treated, they will find a business that will. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's stores out there, we're not going to say any names, but their customer service sucks. People still shop there, right? Like, we're like, why is that? But the reality is, it may not necessarily be as simple as that. Now, again, we're not going to mention any names of any stores, but in a lot of cases, those stores are a lot more than their customer service. They've considered their value proposition and they offer something that no one else does. So, yeah, while they may lose some customers due to horrible customer service or some unfortunate experiences, because of their unique selling perspective, whether that could be their pricing strategy, they have multiple locations that are really convenient, or they have a no questions asked return policy. People will continue to shop there because they're different and they set themselves apart from their competition. Now, I want to know, do you know your value proposition? What do you offer that's different than your competitors? Okay. We'll talk about more about value propositions and strategies for dealing with competition in a later episode. But the reality is, customer service isn't just as simple as this definition. Customer service is everything from identifying who your customer is, determining how you respond to positive and negative feedback from them, setting expectations for your buyers and your customers, and keeping your word and delivering what you promised to them. In a previous episode, we discussed some ways of determining what your customer wants, but make sure that you tune in weekly as we discuss other aspects of customer service, such as creating procedures and dealing with things like email and social media etiquette. In the meantime, I want to know from you, what's one thing that you can do to improve the customer service for your business and your customers? Tell us below in the comments one thing that you can do to improve or you'd like to do to improve how you deal with either prospective or existing customers. Tell us one thing. You're not making a promise or we're not doing a challenge. I just want to know, where are you in your business? And do you think that there's something that you could stand to improve in your customer service? If there is, tell us down below. If you think your customer service is spot on, tell us that down below as well. So, as you know, the Black Entrepreneurs Network connects entrepreneurs of color with information and with each other so that we can close educational and financial gaps that exist within communities of color. We promote your businesses so that new customers can find you. But more importantly, we demonstrate the power of networking, not as a one-on-one a one-time drop-in event, but as a resource that generates warm leads, that can build one-on-one relationships and enhance your marketing strategy. So today, I can't wait to introduce you to Angelo Roberts. He's a young man that's using his platform and his talents to help underserved communities, but also to help entrepreneurs globally, allies, as well as entrepreneurs of color, achieve their goals and reach business success. Let's learn more about our Entrepreneur of the Week, founder of OffSource Inc., Angelo Roberts. Okay, hello everyone. This is Tia with this week's Entrepreneur of the Week. Super excited to introduce you all to Angelo Roberts. He is the CEO and founder of OffSource. And with a background in accounting, Angelo and his partner Benjamin are dedicated to bringing real assistance and support to small business owners in Black and underrepresented communities. Welcome, Angelo. We're excited to have you this week. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm actually extremely excited to be here. You guys caught me on a nice Sunday, enjoying the weather, so happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it does look nice. And where are you located again?
I'm located from New Haven, Connecticut. For those of you that don't know, it's a very small town, small city, large town kind of thing. Yeah. So if you know where Yale is, that's where I'm from.
Cool. That looks like a beautiful location. And I'm sure this time of the year is a wonderful time to visit. So thank you again so much for joining us. So let's jump right on in. What is the best part of being an entrepreneur, in your opinion?
Oh my gosh. I was not okay. So the
yeah,
best part
see,
about
we're jumping in. We're going right for the
right. Yeah,
tough
right.
questions first,
in. Okay.
And then we'll go to the easy stuff.
Okay, tough questions first. The best part about being an entrepreneur. This is a personal question, so I don't think anyone else will have this kind of answer. The best part about being an entrepreneur is it's what I wanted to do when I was younger. For just like anyone else that's in sports, if you will, like an athlete, their ideal goals, like I'd like to go to the NBA, I'd like to go to the NFL, I'd like to go do all this stuff. And so as an entrepreneur, you don't necessarily have that same kind of league, if you will. It's just called Wall Street, and Wall Street doesn't have to be centrally located to just Wall Street, right? There's a lot of headquartered companies everywhere. For example, like Tesla, they're at Wall Street, but they're in Texas. So the best part about being an entrepreneur for me is that I told myself when I was younger, I was in like 6th and 7th grade, sneaking, reading like business books instead of like textbooks. So like when we have like designated reading, when kids would have like their phone inside like their text. I mean, I would have my phone too, but I would be researching stuff. I'm learning things. And yes, I'm on Facebook and Twitter and here and there, but I was really trying to learn. Like I was in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, like studying to be a business owner. And so that's really what makes being an entrepreneur so amazing for me, is that at this particular time, I don't have a side hustle. I mean, I have a side hustle, but my side hustle is a side hustle to my business. And so my actual 9 to 5 is what I do for myself as a business owner and, as an entrepreneur and everything. And that's really my favorite part, because it's like 12-year-old me would be extremely happy with, the abilities that I'm able to do right now.
Definitely. That is super exciting. Thank you for sharing that with us. So after hearing your perspective on customer service and some other things that we talked about at a recent networking event, I knew that I had to invite you, right, and feature you and your business. So can you tell us a little bit about OffSource Inc.? Like, what do you do? Who's your target audience? And anything else you want to share about your business?
So a little bit about what we do at OffSource. In terms of customer service, that's a really another big reason kind of why I wanted to get into, what I do is within our community. It's my goal to really help support small business owners. And so customer service plays a big part of that. How we do with OffSource plays a big part of that. And that real big motivational step is because we don't have access to the same resources that other people have. And so what OffSource does is provide those resources, right? And so when we think of all of the Black business owners that have small businesses, especially when we talk about customer service, in that particular meeting that we had, the customer service was absolutely, all over the place for a lot of small business owners. And one of the big things is customer service comes down to who's in your office. And a lot of time, the business owners, as we talked about, are the people that are also in our office. And so what OffSource does is, especially for the people that are not the best business owners, in terms of customer service. What we do is we handle all of those back end office work because we want to see business owners thrive, right? Everyone says, don't change yourself. So there's this notion that, especially when you get into business, people don't change themselves, and the money or the attention and everything amplifies whatever issues or successes that you particularly had. And so if you are a tell it like it is, and I just say, if you're a tell it like it is person, chances are you're rude. I just say it like that. If you're I tell it like it is. No, that's code for you're rude. And so what I really like to do is, for small business owners, I don't want to see them or see customer service be the reason that your business goes under. Where people are saying, oh, I don't shop. I would love to shop at this place, but she talks to me a certain kind of way. She provides a certain kind of energy that almost looks down on me as a customer, but I'm trying to spend my money with you. And I would like to say that it's a singular problem based on people's experiences. And it's not necessarily that, because when a lot of people have a lot of experiences, you can't just say it or sweep it under the rug as it just being a one person kind of thing. And so Offsource really tries to provide that support so that business owners can do what they do best while also having the best customer service, best back office, and best business.
Love it. And so do you feel like, because I know I kind of struggle with this a little bit in my business, right? Is there a hurdle, and I hate to use that word, but that's really kind of what it is, that you have to jump in order to get entrepreneurs of color to understand that it is okay to get assistance with their business, especially if it's going to help them put on a better customer service, provide better customer service, or enable them to focus on their business? Like, is there a hurdle that you have to get over to get them to understand that, outsourcing certain things or working with your business or other businesses of a similar nature isn't a bad thing? Like, or do they pretty much get it when you talk to them?
Now they get it, only because as a virtual assistant, it's very hard to kind of explain your value proposition. People look at administrative assistants, or just people that use the word assistant, right? They look at it as a low class kind of term. Oh, you're just an assistant. You're an assistant manager. You're the assistant to the CEO. So when we look at assistants normally in movies or in media or in any kind of display, they're doing coffee, they're getting the donuts, they're doing all these remedial things. But when we look at what administrative assistants do in the actual world, they keep business owners in check. They are the people that say, hey, you have a meeting at 6 o'clock. Don't forget. Don't look bad. I'm going to make sure that my job is to make sure that you do your job. And so a lot of business owners, if they didn't have their assistant or a team, they would literally crumble. And so for a lot of small business owners, they like the idea of having all of these people, but it's very hard to trust them because they see them as this lowly kind of person. And so the real hurdle, if you will, is one, trying to get people to understand that you need help and that this is the place to get help at. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to hire an employee, but people have employee issues. And so they're scared to hire employees because, employees just want money, or if they want to go to an accountant, they think that they're going to be cheated. And so I think the very first thing within small businesses, especially within communities that are ours, is changing the notion of what people do. And so contractors and consultants within our community have been known as, I don't want to say scammers, but legitimate, hustlers, if you will. It's a different outlook. And so we see them as someone that is going to hustle us versus someone that, while helping us, is also helping themselves. And so for a marketer, for example, their job is to make sure that your marketing looks well, but they get paid for that. And so we assume because we are paying for that and they get to make their price and we didn't get to have any form of control over their services, what they charge and what they can output, we see it as a scam or see it as a hustle. They're trying to get over on me. And so one of the largest things that I had to kind of overcome, especially with trying to promote support within our community, is really understanding their pain point. I being the son of a business owner, both my dad being a business owner, my mom being a business owner. My dad is one of those people that is like very tight in holding the register. And so you have to really understand what their pain point is. And the pain point that small business owners have is, I don't make a lot of money, and giving it to you means I need it to be capitalized on. And so because you're not an employee, I don't have the control to forcefully make sure that I can capitalize on whatever it is that you're doing. And so I will choose to do it myself. And so Offsource, the biggest hurdle was really trying to get people to understand someone could do work, but not be there. because we feel like we need the control to look over somebody's shoulder and say, hey, are you doing a good job? And so offsource really took that step back to say, hey, we're not here, but we're able to do a good job.
Oh, I love it. And I love how you talked about pain points, because I feel like not enough of us take the time to consider what the customer's pain point really is. You know, a lot of times we get in our head that this is what we want to offer, but we don't say, does someone really need what we're offering? So I love how you address that. So definitely. In addition to administrative services, does offsource offer any other type of services to entrepreneurs?
We do. I'm not big on talking about offsource, especially in podcasts and things like that. But especially for you, I
That's
will.
why you're here.
Offsource offers office outsourcing. So offsource stands for office outsourcing, and we
Okay.
do anything in an office. So that can literally be graphic design, web design, bookkeeping, social media management, marketing, strategies, admin, calls, email. If you do it on your computer, especially within this day and age of 2021, because we saw what coronavirus could do, how many jobs are available by simply logging into a particular software? And so as small business owners, we control this software, and offsource uses that software that you use as your business to then help, grow you further. So if you do it on a computer, we're able to do it. We really say that we're just office work. And so whatever people think of office work, we're able to do.
Love it. And it sounds like you're really flexible. So in other words, if I come to you and I need help with my bookkeeping, you're not going to say that, you have to use X, Y, and Z programs. It sounds like maybe you can use a program that I'm currently using within my own system.
Right. Correct. Because the issue happens to be not even the issue. The plus is software is software. All software that is for the same thing does the same thing. Xero, QuickBooks, Zoho, all these accounting softwares do the same thing. Zoho for CRM, Basecamp for project management, all of these apps that are designed for something can only do one thing. So if you were working at McDonald's, your job will not change in terms of description and what you do if you went to Burger King. If you worked at McDonald's, you can work at Burger King, you can work at Wendy's, you can work at Chick-fil-A. They're all the same thing, but they do something slightly different. And so we use the software that you use because we use that software for ourselves. It's just slightly different.
That's good to know, definitely. And that probably helps people with that trust factor a little bit more, because it's showing that you're kind of meeting them where they are. Is your target audience all entrepreneurs, particularly entrepreneurs of color, entrepreneurs that are located in Connecticut? Like, who is your target audience?
Our target audience are small business owners within the service industry, particularly Black and brown and underserved businesses, because we work, that's who we work with. And usually there's 0 to 5 employees, because we work with the people that don't have employees. So I don't know if you know, but a small business with 0 employees on average makes $50,000. A small business with 1 to 4 employees, not a large number. In fact, we say we represent those 1 to 4 employees, is $387 to $337,000 on average, 1 to 4 employees. And so what we like to say is, as a small business owner, let's bring you to that 1 to 4 employee point.
Exactly.
Because the jump of 1 to 4 at 0 is $330,000. So if we can give you 20, 30, 40,000 in terms of revenue, then we're doing our job. Or if we're able to give you that time back to get that revenue, we're able to get that back. So we really focus on helping small business owners within the service industry that are Black, brown, and underserved, and that usually don't have a team to work with.
Okay. And that's an excellent, like the statistic that you just gave is an excellent reason that I hope everyone hears and understands for why they need to work with, whether it's offsource or another company like yourself, because there is just that financial impact that unfortunately a lot of entrepreneurs in our communities don't understand, right? We don't have to do it all. And when you are able to let go some of those things that you just mentioned that are not your passion, that are taking up your time, that are not moving you ahead, it allows you to make that extra step financially. So I am super glad you shared that. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've talked about what you do, your target audience, how you communicate with entrepreneurs. We talked about your passion for customer service, which I definitely appreciate. So we talked about the best part of being an entrepreneur. Let me ask you this, right? Talked about a whole bunch of highs. Sometimes being an entrepreneur isn't always high. Sometimes it's, ups and downs and the whole roller coaster
Mhm.
ride. Have you ever considered doing a traditional job? Like the entrepreneur, you just had a day that was kind of crazy, or you needed
Oh,
medical
that's not what
benefits, or whatever the case may be. Have you ever considered it?
that is a very unique question that I did not think was going to go that way. I thought you were going to ask, like, what was a low point for me in business? Not did I ever think about a job. Now, I want to lay some groundwork for this particular answer because I don't want anyone to get confused. I am 23 years old, turning 24. So I am, and I come from parents of business owners. My dad, had a regular job and a business. He was a very hard hustler. He probably worked 100 hours a week. Like, this man would work from 8 in the morning till 12 at night, and then do some work till 3, and then go to sleep and wake up at 8 o'clock to go do it again. And he worked as a correction officer. So he worked in a jail. It was very hard. That being said, that means I have insurance. I have very good insurance,
Okay.
very good health insurance. The only reason I technically don't have dental is because he just forgot to extend it till I was 25, 26. So in terms of that, I've been pretty blessed to be able to have, a pretty good safety net. Both of my parents do very well. That being said, I have had jobs before. My very first job was McDonald's. I've done pizza delivery. I've even done, the sales, outdoor sales. So I've gone door to door, knocking on people's doors to try to sell Kirby and stuff like that.
Oh.
My last job was as a bookkeeper. Since I quit my job in 2020, technically 2019, I put in my resignation to start this business. I have not looked back in terms of wanting a job because my idea is this: what I do is the job that I would have to go get. Like, if I wanted to get a job, I told myself, I know I don't want to be a construction worker. I know I'm not a blue collar worker. I know that I have to work in an office. I don't care if I have to take a pay cut. I will work in an office. I'm not meant to go out and do like lawn work. I've done that almost my entire life. My dad being in real estate, I grew up spending my Saturdays and Sundays raking leaves, picking up trash. And I told myself, I'm not going to do this when I grow up. So my skill set only allows me to be in office work, which means that if I no longer was an entrepreneur, I would then have to go out and find an office job, which would then mean that could be a client. So what I always think of is, based on my skill set and based on the job opportunities out there, I have enough skills to never need a job again. If I, for somehow, dropped out and nothing in off source worked out, I would then have a podcast. I could make money from the podcast a little bit. I would then try to grow the podcast. I worked with a friend of mine. We started a record label. It's LLC. We actually are starting to do things. And so I'd run the podcast through that. Or I'm pretty good at doing websites. I would then probably get into web design. I do trading on the side. So I'd probably go into full-time trading. So there are days that it gets tough. And there are days that I would probably say, I've thought about what would I do if something else, shook the table, but never does it cross my mind to go back and get a job. Like, at this particular, because I consider myself a purebred entrepreneur, I'm at the age where I have enough experience to then justify charging what I would like to charge people. I have enough. I believe in myself, and I know I have enough skill to just not need a job. Like, I could hustle. And also, another caveat, I keep my expenses low. So I've learned to live under $1,000 a month. I know a lot of people cannot do that based on their circumstances. You may have kids, but I've learned to keep my expenses under $1,000 a month. And so, based on my experience of being able to hustle and sell, which is why I said my greatest, my skill is selling and things like that, it's easy for me to be able to, let's say, you know what, if this isn't going to work, I'm going to go out and hustle because I can do what I need to do to only make, $1,000. All I have to do is make $1,000 this month to make living. And so that makes it easier for me to say, I can go make 2, 3, 4, 5,000. So no, I probably would never even think about going to get it. Like, we're in the age of the internet. Maybe if it was before the internet and there was no extracurricular skills, but we're in the age of the internet and all my skills are internet based. So I don't see myself going to a job.
Okay, love it. And I love how you talked about the importance of understanding your finances and, what you need versus what you bringing in. And, that's good to know, definitely. So thank you for sharing that with us as well. Now, I'm gonna take a step back. You have a podcast, right? Is that business
Absolutely.
related podcast? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I have a podcast. It's called The Ramblings, and The Ramblings is in association with my off-source business, but it technically is only just a side project for that. It's actually owned under a different company that I'm actually owners of. Me and my friend, as I said, we started an LLC. It's called Quality Made, and it's an entertainment industry particular company. So we do all things in entertainment, from commercials to music videos to recording music, podcasting. We've essentially started a company and then brought together the people that we know in the entertainment industry within our area and said, we're going to sign you guys and now promote you because we understand business, and we're going to take these people with talent that just need that kick. Like, these people have raw, pure talent, and we are going to be the business minds behind them to bring them. And so we do our own thing. And so technically my podcast is under Quality Made, LLC, but it is technically my side hustle, side business to outsource.
Okay. Love it. Definitely. How often does your podcast? Is it like a weekly, monthly podcast? How often does that come out?
Monday through Saturday.
Oh, so daily.
Almost daily.
Okay.
I would be
Wow.
posting on Sundays, but I decided, you know what? I'm going to take
Take a
Sundays.
break. Yeah, I think you deserve it. So anyone that is interested definitely in the ramblings can reach out to you, either if they want to learn about how to podcast or how to be a part and have you represent them. Is that right?
Absolutely. I accept anyone to reach out to me and my team. At this point, I kind of have like a small team now. Like, I was solo, brought connected with my friends, and now we have like a small team. And so we really do our best at trying to help other people. So, for example, if someone's trying to learn to do a podcast, we will not charge them to be on their podcast.
I love it.
Like,
Okay.
we normally would charge someone to come on, but if you're like, oh, it's my first time, I'm trying to learn, we really do set in different places so that we try to help other people grow and learn.
Love it. And again, is that your extension of reaching out to people in Black and underrated community,
Yes.
underrepresented communities? Is that
Yes.
that effort? Perfect. Love that. And I definitely will share in the show description all the information about the ramblings as well. So everyone that's listening can definitely get in contact with you if you have any questions or want to get in touch with you. Let's actually ask you this, and then we'll wrap up because I don't want to take up all of your day. But when you've mentioned a few times that you have partners, you work with friends and associates. What's a lesson about working with
Oh my
friends
God.
that
Oh.
you have learned the hard way? And of course, you don't have to tell us any
Oh.
names because we want to protect your innocence. But we know there's a lot of
No, no,
lessons
no, no, no. There are
learned.
there are a lot of lessons that I've learned in trying to work with people. Actually, I will say that I just lost a partner. Um,
Oh.
so there is a big lesson in that. And I think one of the biggest lessons I learned is understand yourself and pre-vet. Like, the hardest thing I think for a young person to do in a serious manner, especially if it's someone that's older, your age, it doesn't matter in that particular sense, but just having a serious conversation, especially when money is involved, is a very hard conversation. And I think that what I probably would like to go back and change, something that I had to learn the hard way, is tough. Be tough. Like, understanding, like, a lot of people have this idea around money. It's a very sensitive topic. Money for me was not a sensitive topic. My dad always said, like, it was sensitive in the sense my dad never let me know how much he would make, but that was always because of like social things. And so money, however, in itself was not a taboo topic. My mom, I remember I was like 12 years old, and my mom was like having me pick a job out the newspaper and pretending to have me live for a week. It was like an exercise, So I definitely think that having the talk, and that's what I'm going to refer to for business owners and entrepreneurs, having the talk with someone that you have as a business owner, I'm saying, hey, listen, I want you to know that before we go into business with this, especially if you're friends, whatever happens in business is just we're friends. We are already friends, and nothing that should happen in this business should wreck the friendship. The decisions I make are based on the business and not based on our friendship. And so having that conversation that says, hey, listen, if I make a decision, I'm making this decision based on our friendship, because there are a lot of people that cannot separate any form of relationships. They can't separate a work relationship from a personal relationship. And so it can bleed into a lot of things. And that was a mistake I made. The person that I was a partner with had no way of separating this is doing business and this is us being friends. And so there was a lot of constraint that in a business relationship or a business argument that then caused us to not be able to just hang out and talk like, hey, because as me as a person, I can have an argument with you. We can go at it. We can scream at each other about whatever we're arguing at in business. And then we're like, I can come back and say, hey, you want to go get some breakfast? We're still friends. You want to go get breakfast together? And the person's no, they feel some kind of way. And so that then affects the relationship in business because it's bleeding. And so the biggest thing that I learned is do a true blue vetting process. It doesn't matter if they're your friends. It doesn't matter if you don't know them. Do a true blue vetting process and understand that you can't work with your friend if they are not on the level that you're trying to be on. You have to really lay everything out. And I didn't do that. And so I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah, definitely a lesson learned. Yeah, I totally understand it. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because everyone is not meant to be a friend and a partner. So I definitely
or
glad you
business owner.
shared those words of wisdom.
You have to recognize which of your friends are and are not business owners. Like being a business owner is like being a professional basketball player. There used to be a basketball hoop in the backyard. I was younger. My dad bought us a basketball hoop. I played basketball. I got my varsity letter in soccer. I played sports. Okay. You will not see me playing with Messi or LeBron James or LaDainian Tomlinson. I cannot be on that level, but I absolutely play basketball. And so I think that we need to also recognize that within our friends. This is an amazing person. They have a great work ethic, but do they have what it takes to have the pressure to be a founder, to be an owner?
Yeah. And everyone's not at that level. So it takes a lot to recognize that about your friends and about yourself, that you need to understand that everyone's not at that level. So cool. All right. Definitely. Okay. So no more really hard questions, right? That was probably one of the hardest. It wasn't hard. Sometimes
actually, not hard. It wasn't hard because I just went through it. Like crap just had hit the fan over the weekend kind of thing. So,
and that's usually kind of how it happens, right? Like it's unexpected and it's like usually something that's like recent. So thank you for sharing that with us. I definitely appreciate that. I want to pivot a little bit and talk about networking events. So as I mentioned earlier, I met with you at a recent event that the Black Entrepreneurs Network hosted. Super excited. And you definitely demonstrated in this feature why I connected with you as an entrepreneur, not just an entrepreneur of color, but just an entrepreneur, right? Same business-minded individual. And so can you tell me a little bit about why do you even just attend networking events? What made you attend our event or any other events that you go to for your business?
Money.
Oh,
I mean, that's a very simple answer. I'm gonna elaborate. So the reason I joined is because I didn't have money to do like marketing. So the only real option that I had when I first started, off sources, I need to get clients, not customers, clients. And so I need to find a way to go out and get customers. But I know I'm not going to do it door to door. I'm not going to buy or find a list to do cold calling because those are terrible ways. I'm not going to do an email list. And so I really was like, what am I going to do? So I started going to networking meetings in person. And that's really where, a couple of clients started happening. And I realized this is similar to me going and doing, independent contract work in which I'm selling, but everybody here is trying to do this. And so all I have to do is what really clicked is I was at a BNI meeting and they were an hour and a half. And so they were talking, it was the end of the year. And they said, you know what? We have done like $900,000 this year between this small group. And obviously there's other chapters and everything. Yeah. And I was like, $900,000 exchanged between this group of like 30 something people. And then I thought to myself, if I just stayed in here for the entire year, would I be able to, have any kind of participation in that $900,000. I would think so. Mm-hmm. And so that's really what solidified my networking meeting. I went to a networking meeting where they announced the numbers, mm-hmm. and I said, I want to be part of these numbers. And so I'm going to go into a bunch of networking meetings, because every networking meeting has their own numbers and they do, a different set of business. And so the actual reason I found you guys is because we work and particularly serve underserved and Black and brown. We work with Black businesses. I'm a Black owner and we support Black businesses. That's the absolute reality. And so the reason I came to your event is because it was a Black business event. There's Black business owners, and even if it's not like a customer in there, I'm from Connecticut, man. There's like a lot of white people. I'm gonna say it like that. The chamber has white people, all of that kind of stuff. And so I really actively love being Black. I love our people, and I love helping our people. I recognize where the pain points are. I see it, and I really want to help. And so the only way to do that is to really actively and intentionally put myself in spaces where there will be other Black people. And so going to networking events is one thing, but going to networking events specifically geared towards people of color that look like me is a completely different thing. I feel better. I don't know if you remember the email I sent you, but I absolutely feel so much better being, part of a group where there's people that look like me.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad first of all, I'm glad you attended our event, and hopefully, I know you mentioned you'll be at another one, so I'm looking forward to that. But I'm glad that you touched on the thing that actually helped me start the Entrepreneurs Network, right? Because I love BNI events, and I know there are other organizations like LaTib and other ones that do similar things, but you touched right on the reason why I started the network, which is that there not only hundreds of thousands, there are billions of dollars that are being exchanged, but they're being exchanged in communities of people that understand the importance of building a relationship. And just like you said about going back to BNI or going back even to one of our Black Entrepreneurs Networking events, you didn't say, I'm going to go. I realize there's importance. They're exchanging stuff. I'm going to go one time, I'm going to tell my name, and I'm never going to come back. You just said, is there value to me and my business in coming back and participating? And that is the key that I always want everyone to understand, that none of us are in business for free. We all want to make money. And the way to make that money is to build relationships with other entrepreneurs, whether they look like us, whether they're allies. There's money out there, but we can't give you referrals if we don't know who you are. If you just drop in one time and then you're kind of gone. So I'm really glad that you understand. And that's one of the reasons why I have this. And I ask that question is for entrepreneurs and people that are watching this to hear from you and other entrepreneurs that we feature, not just myself. Networking is about ongoing relationship building, not just one-stop shop. So okay. Definitely. So I'm definitely glad that you shared that about networking events. So I'm going to ask you one last question, and then we're going to wrap up. And again, I'm going to thank you in advance for your time. I'll thank you again. But if there was one thing that you wish, and again, just specifically thinking about entrepreneurs of color, even Black entrepreneurs, right? If there was one thing that you wish they knew to either advance themselves or get, working with outsourcing, whatever. If there's one thing about networking, anything, podcasting, one thing that you thought entrepreneurs should know and wish they knew, what would that be? What would you tell them?
Oh my God. The one thing I wish entrepreneurs knew. Oh my gosh.
I know there's a lot.
There's a lot of things I want them to know, especially I'm gonna settle this into specifically the aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners area, because I think that's very particular. I want them to know business means that you are not going to make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions. That might be in my future. I am a specific case. So me telling you that it's only going to be $50, $60, $70,000 for you is not me saying it is based on me. It's completely different. I consider myself different. Not everyone is an exact LeBron James or anything of that nature. So I want entrepreneurs to know that you really have to be in this for like your passion. If you're not in it for your passion, you're going to experience a hump, an issue, an obstacle that does not allow you to continue.
Definitely. That is great advice. And I agree with you. I wish everyone knew that as well. But we all work together. We can get that message out there. So hopefully they do know it. Well, Angelo, thank you so much for being our feature and letting me spotlight you this week, sharing the information about offsource. Besides reaching you on offsource.tech, are you on social media, Facebook, Instagram, anything
Absolutely.
like
Oh my
that?
gosh, I'm big on social media. You can follow me on Assistance HQ. That's ASSISTANCE HQ or Offsource HQ. You can literally go on any social media, type one of those two names, and you'll find both of us.
Perfect.
Except for
Definitely.
except for TikTok. TikTok is your favorite CEO. At your favorite
Oh,
CEO.
okay. TikTok, definitely. So we'll check you out there. I always encourage everyone to reach out to you to ask questions and, of course, to send referrals, qualified referrals your way. And before we end, is there anything else that you would like to share?
No, I think I've been able to explain if you happen to be in the New Haven area, on Sundays, like I'm about to go back to do now, we actually do a community lunch and breakfast for people in need.
Oh,
And so that's one of the sponsors things that we do. And so if you or anyone that you know is in the New Haven area and on Saturday or Sunday would like to come and grab a breakfast, a lunch, and just have like maybe some donations, because we have like some free clothes, some fruit, water, and things like that. Every single summer we do like a little community kind of thing going on from like 11 to 2.
wow,
11
that
to
is
3.
amazing, the impact you're making in your community. We appreciate that. And I definitely will make sure we share that here in our description, but also like on our social media and website as well, because we want to get the word out about people doing positive things in the community. So thank you so much for that, Angelo. Thank you again. I appreciate the time that you spent with us, for allowing us to spotlight you and being our featured entrepreneur. We definitely will keep in touch, and I appreciate the impact you're making in the community and the lives of the business owners in our communities as well. So thank you for so
Thank you
much.
so much. I appreciate for coming on. I like listen, let's connect, collab whenever.
Definitely. All right. Thank you for checking out this week's episode of Entrepreneur Insider featuring Angelo Roberts. We appreciate all the information that he shared with us. And when the cameras turned off, he even revealed that a key to his secret sauce is customer service. It's what helps him retain and cultivate his customer relationships. For more information about Angelo, please be sure to check out his website, offsource.tech, check out their social media channels, and even his podcast. And don't forget, share his information the same way you would want yours to be shared. Why wouldn't you? It's free. So, to be featured in a future episode of Entrepreneur Insider, please let us know down below that you'd like a link to our calendar, or send us an email at info@theblackentrepreneursnetwork.com. In the meantime, don't forget to like this episode and share this episode, and subscribe to Relationship Entertainment Television. Share that as well. Until next time, thanks for watching, and be great.